It's just discouraging.
Maybe it's going to take an old-fashioned mailing.
Or maybe a nuclear option. I don't know.
I don't know.
Anyway, let's get started. Good evening. Thanks you guys for showing up. We have just a couple of items on the list here. No program except for this. Orville, you there?
I am here.
Okay, why don't you address the first item on there, the brunch, and
Okay,
I'll bring up a visual.
very good. Now this coming Saturday at 10 o'clock, we're going to have a brunch, which is going to be held at Kelly's Country Kitchen on West Airport. And it's got some fantastic food.
A tremendous menu.
Yeah. Scott can tell us about the size of the pancakes they've got. They're about 14 inches or so. And they've got, you just passed up the pancakes. They had a stack of pancakes there, just right there, with bacon, sausage, ham fry, $10.99. And that's enough to feed 18 people. Literally, I mean, whenever I go there, I like to get the special of the day. On Tuesdays, I've got a spaghetti bowl with meat sauce and a salad and everything for $9. And that's enough to eat. I've taken enough home after eating my fill, and I had enough for 2 more days. And it's absolutely the best sauce, meat sauce. They've got everything. They've got a real good chicken fried steak. And typically, all of their items on their menu come with, I believe it's 2 vegetables, and it's, you know, it's all you can eat, and it's really good food. We've had several times gotten together. There's a chicken fried steak right there. And that's a full platter that it's sitting on. But you can get that and mashed potatoes and more gravy. They got all kinds of vegetables. Everything from fried okra, macaroni and cheese, a little bit of everything. But we've eaten there several times. Several groups of us, TU, N5ET, Roby and myself met there one time to check out some QSL cards. And Scott, I don't remember who all was there other than you and I, and was Roby there that time?
Yeah, I think there were several of us there.
Yeah, but it's a real good place to eat. And anyway, we're going to have that brunch at starting at 10 o'clock. And I have a very short list of people going to attend at this point.
Alan, do you think you're going to make it?
I'm sorry?
Say, Alan, do you think you're going to make it?
Yeah.
Okay,
And I'll
Alan,
be there.
you got Jim. Okay, you got me and
Yep.
Scott and you, Orville.
Yep.
Jimmy, you can come.
Jimmy's going to
Yeah,
be out.
I've already got plans for Saturday. Otherwise, I would.
Yeah, I apologize for the short notice, but it's an idea that just popped up a week ago.
No,
Yeah,
it's a
I thought that
good,
was-
good thing. I got a motorcycle ride this weekend, so
Well, we'll do it again. If we get half a dozen people show up, we'll do it again. fact, that goes right into something that we're going to talk about here in a minute. Anything more you want to say, Orville?
I think that about does it. I was hoping to hear from some more people in response, but ET's going to be out of town visiting family, and Rich is going to be out of town. So it's unfortunate that we picked the weekend before Thanksgiving because there are going to be a lot of people visiting family. But
I talked to Roby this evening, and he said he's going to really make it try to come to it. And if he does, he's going to call up Dale and see if Dale wants to ride along.
good.
So,
All right, gang. Well, I appreciate it. And Doug, go ahead and take over.
okay, well, let me bring up this other thing here. Okay, well, so we're on the second item, election of officers. According to the Constitution, by now, we basically should have all the officers selected, ready for announcement at the December meeting. However, as you can see there, everybody can see that, right? There's nobody for president, nobody for VP programs,
No.
nobody for treasurer. We can't continue as a club with a VP membership and a secretary. That's just not really in the cards. Any comment?
Yeah, the trick is trying to get somebody to run for those positions, and that's there just doesn't seem to be very much interest in it. A lot of people are already committed to what they're doing, or lots of other things. I'm afraid there's a lot of competition out there for people's time. I think it's just real unfortunate.
You know, we've since I joined in 2006. At that time, we had a whole bunch of North Side people. Tomball and Montgomery County and Conroe and so forth. It came to the meetings and were active. That whole group has just drifted away, and that took a huge hole out of our membership, active membership.
Well,
Yeah.
I think the only thing we can do is either direct targeted emails, direct physical letters, or direct phone calls to people. And I don't think beyond that, what else can be done? Can't pay them.
I don't know. Let me move on down here just for the. So I asked some questions. Wonder if anybody's thought about it. And why did you join the TDXS? What did you expect from the club? Has your expectation been fulfilled? I think Roby said that when he joined, Cookie brought him in, and he said he joined because he expected to see multi operations and de-expeditions and grid square activations going on, all kinds of dynamic stuff, and there was nothing.
Yeah.
He fought that for what? I think he was president for 3 years or so, 3 or 4 years. Never could generate any kind of enthusiasm. So the bottom line is, what do you see as this is the future of TDXS?
What's the, before the COVID thing, did you guys have a field day?
Yeah.
For probably about 5 years, we went in with BVARC and Cars and Echo as a joint field day.
Yeah, and so, how'd that go? Where'd you hold that?
We held a number of different places. So the last place has been Dehusik Park in Sugarland, which is basically it's a 3-bedroom house, air conditioned with a huge property where you can put antennas up on. So it's a great location.
I see.
Before that, we did a couple of years off at a fire station. A number of years at the fire safety location. Back when it was just TDXS operating when I first started, they were doing the field day out in Tomball Park. And did that for 2 or 3 years and then went to Tomball Fire Station. Did that for a couple of years and I don't remember what happened, but
Yeah. Well, I was just curious because that was certainly, you know, I mean, that's something which is local and goes on, you know, every year and anybody can get to it. And,
Yeah.
but, you know, I mean, I think every organization that relies upon getting people together is suffering the same problems that this is. That you know, people get out of that, you know, they can't. You're too scared to go and do things together, and then when you top that off with the fact that once you aren't doing them together, you get other activities. Like somebody was saying here, I can't come on Saturday because I got a motorcycle ride. Well, everybody's got other stuff going on. If whoever said that was a, you know, what was expecting to be in a radio contest that weekend or something like that, you probably wouldn't have done the motorcycle ride. You would have accepted one and not the other.
yeah.
So I don't think.
We still have a small active group of contesters.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. But those are single op. I don't think you guys do many multis, do you?
No, we don't. And that's, I perceive that as being one of the major problems with the organization is the fact that we've got nobody to call on or nobody who has offered or nobody who has taken any steps forward to try to get together to do a multi operation.
K5GN has.
Well, not
He never
really.
comes to meetings though.
No.
Oh, he lives in Crosby.
What
No,
he's done is he's
isn't.
isolated himself out there with those Cat Springs people, and you know, has any one of us been offered any time out there in those operations?
What
I thought he lived
operation
in Bel
you're
Air.
talking about?
I thought he lived in
Oh.
Bel Air and he goes out to Sealy to do the contest operation.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, you know, and this goes all the way back to Houston Amateur Radio Club, which was the last club that I know of in the area that actually had a place to go to. You know, that, you know, I can still remember Friday nights and I can still remember all of those contests where we were doing a multi-operator single radio 48 hours with 2-hour stints, you know, and we just don't have that. And being the contest chairman, I find that to be totally frustrating because, you know, you look at a lot of the organizations, there's a number of people in Austin that offer places. I mean, what the King family out there, I've been invited out there once, but unfortunately it was one of those weekends when there was no way in the world that I could do everything I needed to do. But there's nobody in this organization right now that has a big enough or has a station that would be willing to put together a multi operation.
You know, we do a multi every year at Field Day.
Well, yeah, but that's one out of there's at least 8 major contests where we could do a multi operation, and that would provide basically training for new people to contesting. It would encourage people to get into contesting because it's a big difference between a 48-hour commitment and a 2-hour commitment for even a multi-operator single radio type thing. And if I had a big enough ham shack, I'd be inviting people out there all the time. But 8x10 hand shack ain't gonna fit very many people.
Yeah. Have any of you guys, you know, the only superstation around that I'm aware of is NR5M. And I think K5GA operates CW out there. I don't know if anybody has that thing on the air for you know, for sideband contests, do they? Anybody know?
Not very often.
They don't communicate with us, that's for sure.
Well, I don't know who you mean by they. George DeMontron has done. Huh?
Yeah, well, when was
George
the
doesn't
last
answer
time any
emails
one
or
of
phone
us got an
calls.
invite to go out there?
Well, so, let me, George himself has not been active out there. He owns it and he's funded it, but he doesn't, I don't know whether he's actually been operating out there for some time, given everything else he's got on his plate. But as far as I know, that station is up and, going great guns. I mean, hell, I'll call George if none of you guys thinks you know him well enough to do it, and see whether or not he'd be willing to host a multi-op setup out there for at his place for some contest that's not, well, there's not much going on now till, I guess you're kind of running out of gas until, for a little bit here, but anyway, see whether or not he probably would be happy to do that if it was one where that somebody was not trying to go out and win. You're not going to tell K5GA stay home because we want to have a multi for ARLCW or the DX contest or something like that, or CQ Worldwide. But I don't know if he has anybody out there who comes on and operates for sideband, and George might be interested in in doing that. I mean, I'll call him. I'll call him if you won't.
I have tried to call him and emailed him multiple times. He never returns calls or emails. So.
Well, okay, so how about if I do you guys a favor and I'll give him a call and see what he has to say, okay?
Sure, go ahead.
All right.
But K5GN has hosted some things out at W5KU. I haven't personally participated, but he's had some people from Cars and BVARC and
I've gone
others.
out there. I've gone out there several times.
Yeah. So
Is that Dennis Alexander's station?
yeah.
Yes, it is.
Okay,
I
so
I was out there last weekend to help put an antenna up. Me and Roby were out there.
well, I haven't been out there in 25 years, I guess, but I mean, that's a hell of a station out there. That's another one. And if they're already doing that kind of stuff, that's a good spot to start. And again, like I said, I don't know, I mean, Dave McCarty picks, some contest that he wants to get it because he wants to win. But there are probably plenty others which are be fun to do just to put the place through its paces.
That's what he's done with several of us, because we're not the same caliber he is, and he gets us out there and lets us work and learn and get better. And
Right.
How the hell do you get an invitation to come out there?
Why don't you give him a call? I mean, let's call him, because he's extended invitations before. I haven't been able to make it.
Yeah, I think he just
and
sent
a
out
couple
an
of the
email saying he
yeah,
was going to do it, and several of us responded. So
right, yeah.
I mean, I've
Well,
gone
I think
out there.
that's a great-
I've gone out there several times to help him work on antennas and stuff. So
Yeah, so I mean, to my mind, that's that's a great that's a great way to start. And Dave, if particularly it's been Dave's been has already sort of marshaled some people to go out. Don't forget, it's one thing to go out and want to go out and operate for a couple hours or something like that. It's another thing to commit to go out there and clean up old rolls of coax.
I don't think that's the answer to TDXS, though. That's not the sole answer. We can't get people to become officers. We can't get people to invest in the club and put the time in to be involved in the club itself. We haven't had, like Doug said, we haven't had a president in several years, VP. Most of us have been in our position for 5, 8, 10 years. nobody else will take the positions. So so really just going out to a contest station to operate is not the answer. That's not our answer.
Well-
The answer is trying to get people interested in being part of an organization again. That's the answer. I don't know the answer to that answer.
Well, if we do not have activities that interest people, we are not going to get anybody. And that's why I'm kind of harping on the contesting thing, is that there is at least a reasonable amount of contesting that goes on. So there is at least a cluster of people that has that level of interest. And like I say, anything that brings us together, and a perfect example is what we're doing on Saturday. The things that bring us together are the things that keep us together and might influence. Well, let's just put it this way. You know, my cup is pretty full right now, and I know yours is fuller than it's ever been, Alan, with your new job. You know, and I can certainly, everybody can understand that the people that are already in positions are already pretty heavily committed.
Yeah.
You know, that's why I haven't volunteered to be president.
Hey, so have you guys, you know, one of the things that's nice about Zoom is the fact that you can have a guest speaker from Okefenokee on the thing. Have you guys considered trying to, you know, I don't know if any of the current members have been doing any de-expeditioning themselves, but you certainly know a lot of people who have. You know, people who would be talking about a particular operation from some DX location. See if, you know, get a hold of them, somebody you know, and see if they could come on and show some slides and give a talk about when they went to that location.
Yeah.
I'd sure log in and hear that kind of stuff. I've done, you know, I've done a number of those myself back in the day when I was active. And in those days, it was really hard for people to share the stuff. But that's the whole beauty of this, is you can, you know, you can have somebody who you haven't seen in a long, or get a hold of somebody who's, you know, K5RC or one of those guys with superstations who've left, or people who orchestrate these remote location QTHs, and see if, you know, many of you may actually do remote login and operate superstations from from your own house by computer. You know, get somebody to talk about what the place actually looks like. I think that would be a great place to start, particularly guys Dennis Matzenbacher and you know, Randy K5ZD and K5RC and some of those guys who've done this stuff for a million years. Why not, you know, why not just reach out to them?
Would you like to be our VP of programs?
Well, I mean, if it comes to that, I'll be happy to make some calls. But I mean, I don't know all the guys who are the people you particularly want to hear. I'm not sure. But you know, for instance, if you've ever been and looked at K5RC's superstation out there on the West Coast, just go to his website. I mean, it's you know, it's pretty amazing. And you know, I bet he has a canned talk that he's probably given at a zillion different places about, you know, Dayton or wherever. Just go back through the Dayton last few years of Dayton Handvention and find out who's given, you know, who has given interesting talks on topics. And you know, if particularly somebody that you know, just call them up or you know, email them or whatever and see if they'll do it. I mean, you know, I'm certainly happy to, I'm certainly, even though I'm not on the air, if it's a matter of having somebody who can get through to some of these old farts, I certainly can. And
We'll put you on the list of contacts then.
Sure, I'll be happy to, sure. But
It's a good idea. We
yeah.
certainly haven't availed of ourselves of all the potential Zoom resources out there. I think the Zoom thing has been sort of a blessing and a curse. It's separated us in one sense from actually knowing each other. We're just little pictures on the screen now.
Yeah, but
Yeah, it's killed
but
this club
I'm
to
a
a large
retired-
degree.
I'm a retired academic, and one of the best things that's come out of the only positive thing that's come out of this worldwide pandemic is that everybody defaults to having scientific lectures. Nobody invites so-and-so to fly in from London to give a talk. But they give the talk because they do it on Zoom. So everybody's used to doing that, and it's very, very successful. This platform is bulletproof, and it's great.
Until
We've been using it monthly for the last year and a half or more than that.
Yeah, but you guys tend to think, everybody who got into this situation a year and a half ago, like I did, you view it as, oh, rats, we've got to go to having Zoom. We can't do it we can't do it together. But the example that I just gave about trying to use it as a way of inviting people from any place on the planet to attend and give a talk about the expedition to Mars would be, that they'd be happy to do it.
What I would like to do, I'd really like to do is to come up with a setup that's hybrid, where you can have an in-person crowd watching a Zoom presentation of something like that. We haven't gotten there yet.
That's what we're doing in the Katy Club.
Need to talk to you about just what the nuts and bolts are that you use.
Okay.
Because that
Well-
would blend what we're already using.
We do need a VP of programs, Tuna, so, hint, hint.
Well, like I said, since I've been so far away from it, if it's a matter of having somebody
We
do
got
it,
Zoom.
anybody else will do it, I'm certainly happy to, how about if I co-chair with somebody who actually has a QTH within the state of Texas or something? I mean, like I said, I call the guys that I know, but I don't know anybody who's been big time in the last 25 years, all this stuff. I have never seen it. I have never been on FT8. I haven't, half of the call signs that I see go through over the reflector. I keep waiting to see, I think, isn't that the tube number of an old rectifier?
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, we'll certainly put you to work as a co-chair then.
That's fine. But I'll start out and try to at least see if I can get a hold of a couple, particularly George and George DeMontron and Dave McCarty, about maybe they could be more proactive about trying to host something like that. If Dennis Alexander and Dave are contesting and Sealy all the time, that's great. Sealy's about the same distance, but it's not that much farther from Hempstead to Sealy. One of the other things I was thinking about as I came on the air here with you guys tonight was the fact that one of the things which was nice back in the halcyon days of old was when the Lumberyard was on and K5LZO was on and several of the other stations were on. There was kind of a competition amongst all of us to see who could do what. And it's undoubtedly true that as that becomes less accessible, just because there are fewer people out there doing it, it makes it a little harder. But I see K5TU still on, and KG5U, and same guys that have been on for, I feel like I'm in a time warp. I get back on the same names.
Yeah.
Well, we have some, in a small way, we still have that competition. We just have a few real hardcore competitions guys, and then a bunch of people like me who just set a goal of getting 100 multipliers or something.
Right.
And I have a crippled station currently.
Oh, yeah. He's normally one of the loudmouths or loud keys.
Now lightning will do that to you.
Well, the real story about amateur radio and contesting in particular, this is really kind of an individual thing. And yes, you can get together with multiple people to do a multi-op station. But realistically, most people think of this as sort of an individual hobby. And it shouldn't be terribly surprising that in these times that we've all kind of drifted away from each other and we do our own thing. I think the one time that I'd heard that McCarty was having people out there, it was one of the major contests. And, I had my own operation. I wanted to try out my new tower and my new beam and couldn't go out there. But I just think that if there's a way to bring people together, Field Day is a great example. Bringing people together to where they can learn together, they can enjoy themselves together, and they can do a bunch of radioing at one time. That's ideal. That doesn't help when you're trying to get people to take these offices, though. But like I say,
Well,
One,
that's another possible thing we can consider is changing the structure of TDXS to make it more oriented around that kind of operation and less bound by officers.
what I might suggest, among other things, is as usual, there will be a ham fest in March. So maybe we can twist a few arms
Well,
come
the
March.
last I heard, they said there wasn't going to be, but
That's not what I heard. They're having a, well, I mean, they had a couple planning meetings. Did they decide during the planning meetings to not do it? Was that the plan in the planning meeting?
This is anecdotal, but I think what they found is they had a very small volunteer list.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, there's no surprise there.
yeah,
So-
it's a symptom of the same disease.
So-
It's what it boils down to. Everybody is busy
And older.
and older and afraid of getting sick,
right. By the way, did you guys, is Dale KG5U, is he still with JSC Television down at Johnson Space Center?
Oh, he's retired.
Is he? Okay. Because he knew everybody in the astronaut corps and everything, because he was always, his bunch was always involved in doing all the televising. I was, when you were mentioning the ham fest, I was recalling when Jim NN50 was alive, and we got this guy, the Russian ham Musa from who had been on the Mir to actually come to Houston and come to the ham fest, which was out at the
At the airport.
hotel out there at the airport.
This is just my experience with getting astronauts to come to the ham fest. The problem is I tried to do that one year when I was running the programs and the talks out there. And the problem is that you can't really advertise it because they won't commit until about 2 weeks before the show. That they'll say, okay, well, you can give them the form and make your request and all that kind of stuff. And they say, well, maybe we'll have somebody out there, but we can't guarantee anything until about 2 or 3 weeks before. And that's, how can you use that? How can that be advertised? You can't say, well, we might have an astronaut here. Hey, might. So
Jim, NN50 knew Musa, I forget his call, but he actually had worked him on VHF or moon bounce or satellite or something like that. So they actually knew each other. So he had a connection. Plus the fact dealing with somebody from who's not part of the US NASA bureaucracy is a little easier. When a Russian says, yeah, I'll be there, send me the ticket.
Yeah.
He'll be there.
yeah. Well, that was my experience, and
Yeah.
it wasn't a good one. So,
Let me run to one more slide here. This is something that Roby had come up with as a suggestion, just to throw it out in the wind. I know it's really wordy.
Mhm.
Well, that's a lot to what he says about not having, you don't have a need for a lot of officers and maintaining a lot of treasury reports and stuff. If you aren't, if you aren't tax exempt, then you don't have to, just changing the name on a form would make a big difference.
Yeah, I don't know, and maybe Larry does, what the implications are of relinquishing that tax status and going to sort of a social organization, particularly with respect to hard assets that we have, like repeaters and antennas and so forth.
The hard assets, I don't believe really come into play. They're not significant dollar values overall. I think all it does is it eliminates the requirement to file an annual tax return.
so why does the club even need that? I mean,
One,
what does it gain a club to have that?
right now, very little, but from what I understand, where we are gaining something is the web hosting. The dollar amount's pretty low because we're tax exempt. Scott may be able to comment further.
Is it through QTH?
For QTH,
QTH.com? Is that where the website's hosted?
I don't know. Scott would have to.
If that's where it's hosted, yeah, he does have price for charity organization, registered charity organization.
Well, the price that we're getting for the hosting service, I don't think there's any connection with the tax status of the club.
Okay.
It just depends on
other-
where it's at. Like I said, if it's with QTH.com, it should be like $50 a year, and it's because we're tax exempt.
Isn't that
Well,
tag
our-
or something or other?
Well, our cost is even less than that. And the only requirement is that we're a non-profit organization and we don't have to provide any forms to prove that.
He looks it up.
I'm sorry?
You don't need to provide him any forms. He just looks it up online.
Well, I'm not familiar with that hosting service, but our
Right.
service is $20 a year.
Ah,
I'm not sure I've seen, I don't know how we could beat that. And there's no connection, as far as I know, with any tax status. So I think it's a non-issue.
How about our insurance?
Well, yeah, if we're going to have any organized activities, I'd recommend that insurance continue.
Yeah.
That's $200 a year. I think
Yeah.
$200 a year.
But what kind of entity do we have to be to have insurance?
Liability.
No, but I mean, do we have to
Yeah,
just be?
we'd have to read the paperwork on it's through the ARRL club liability policies that we're getting it. We'd have to read what their rules are regarding that.
If you could be a social club,
I'd still, based on the fact that it's ham radio and there may be towers going up or elevated antennas at activities, I think the social club should try to continue the liability insurance.
which is what, about $250 a year?
200, I believe.
200.
Well, we're also an affiliated ARRL affiliated club, so I'm not sure how that would change if we changed our status
Right.
otherwise.
Would
Or
you all
what the
agree?
value is. I'm not sure what the value of that is as well.
Guys, the only reason you're talking about this issue at all is to try to figure out how you can arrange to get rid of having a treasurer or a secretary or something like that. It's kind of, am I missing
Minimize
something here?
all the overhead activities, basically, not having to file tax returns. I mean, again, do we need to collect dues for a social club?
I mean,
Question mark. I mean, we don't have postage expenses.
What do we spend them on?
What do we spend our money on?
Yeah, I mean, besides insurance and
This year,
web
very-
hosting.
not much else. Yeah, this year, not much else.
In better times, we've supported some
antennas.
de-expeditions.
Yeah, the expedition contributions.
And field day.
Contributions, yeah.
Yeah.
Bought an antenna. Paid. I
Yeah, we
think,
used to buy antennas and
stuff. for
store 'em.
In your barn.
in my
Yeah,
barn.
and yeah,
And
having
B-Mark
a,
still has that antenna now.
having a club, bank account is one thing, but collecting dues is a more labor intensive record keeping activity. If you, again, I'm just,
right.
saying what I've seen with other clubs. If you let the members make a voluntary contribution when they want. And that's how they get money for these common purchases or, club activities. But they don't keep a membership list of who's paid and who hasn't and that sort of thing.
Why don't
So-
you, so I think this is an interesting idea that you guys have had here with this. But in terms of trying to get more people to attend the club meeting, this might be a good excuse to have an email or even a hard copy or something to say, look, we're going to have a discussion about this, about changing the status of the club. And if you have any interest in participating in that discussion, you got to show up at this next Zoom conference or something.
We'll guarantee we won't draft you as president.
Right, right.
Right.
Well, but you see my point. I think putting something out there that, that says if you're not sufficiently interested to show up and debate whether to change the whole status of the club, fine, then we'll do whatever we jolly well please.
Mhm. Yeah,
Okay, well, that gives me some good ideas to mull around and see if I can come up with something.
If you want to get together and if we want to mail out hard copies, I'll help with the exercise of mailing out hard copies. Print up a bunch of stuff, stuff
Good.
envelopes and send them out.
Okay.
I don't know which is more, frankly, I don't know how to suggest which is most
Both.
likely to get attention these days. I don't know.
I'd say we need all avenues. I'd say emails, individual direct emails, newsletter, the bulletin board. My mind's gone blank.
Reflector.
Reflector, phone calls. I don't know, maybe we need to drive out to houses and, throw smoke bombs at them and something like that. That might get their attention.
Well, I think before we do that, we would probably ought to do some more homework on what the implications are of changing the status, so we know what the options are, what the limitations are.
Mhm.
You don't want to present something and have everybody on board and then they say, oh, you can't do that because. So.
Well, at least it gets some attention.
Are there any
It's better than no attention.
Are there any lawyers in the club that could comment on the liability aspect of a social club versus what we have now?
It used to be.
We got
Well,
Chuck and
Papa Radio's still legal in the state.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, just because, yeah, I mean, I'm certainly not qualified to do that.
Well, for
Oh, okay,
$200 a year, and anybody will tell the lawyer, let me speak on behalf of the legal profession. Anybody you find is going to, with a JD after their name, is going to tell you for $200 a year to have a liability policy, you ought to have it.
Yeah.
No brainer.
yeah, we just want to make sure we are an organization that is capable of having a policy.
Right, I agree.
Well, I think because we're an affiliated ARRL club, that we're going to qualify for that insurance. I'm virtually certain of that.
You know,
But
when you look at the affiliated clubs with the roster of them, they say who's the president, who's the vice president, who's, you know, if you have nothing
Yeah.
there, I don't know what they're going to think.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know.
We have a troika.
I mean, I think there are some rules on what you have to be considered a club, period, and even to deal with a bank account.
Yeah, that's what we have to pursue.
Well, maybe that's
From a couple other clubs that I'm involved in and having to deal with bank stuff. They've made it harder for clubs to do banking stuff. You know, smaller clubs like us. The regulations that they've put on the bankers now makes it a real pain in the butt, even just to change names when you get new officers.
Right.
We're running out of time here, folks.
Okay, well, these have been good ideas. I'm going to put something down on paper and I'll probably send it around to you all who are on this meeting and get your yays or nays on this if it's correct and go from
Sure.
there.
Okay,
Sounds like a plan.
that's good.
So,
Okay.
And we'll talk Saturday.
Yeah, I'm sure glad you're coming.
so could I ask one thing, and that was to see if somebody could find out whether it's been decided whether there is or is not going to be a ham fest in the spring?
I'll check with the BVARC.
Yeah, I haven't heard that it's been canceled yet. I know that they're still having meetings about it.
Okay.
They had, I think, 2 meetings. That was the last scuttlebutt I heard, but
And I wasn't able to attend them, so I haven't talked to Mike.
nor have I.
You know, the whole COVID thing is just beat the shit out of everything, right? So
Right.
might be another year before they
No,
people
even
feel
then,
comfortable.
I know one of the big issues is getting people to volunteer, and yeah, it probably has a little bit to do with COVID, but even the last year that we actually had one, trying to get anybody to help other than the 2 or 3 people that always do, you know, I end up being there till it's done, and I'm kind of tired of busting my ass for it, you know.
Right. I don't
Yeah, I
blame you.
went through many years of that myself.
Right.
And maybe I feel burnt out about it too, but you know, I guess I've unvolunteered for several years now, so maybe I'll volunteer again.
Right.
You know,
No, I mean,
what
I'm the
limited
same
time
way,
I
but
have.
I keep plugging along, but I understand.
Yep.
Well,
Maybe
I'm
we just
outta
need
here.
one ham club in the whole city.
Well, just as a side note, before I actually joined the Texas DX, because of a lot of the people that I knew were part of Texas DX, I thought it was weird. It's like everybody in Texas DX is in BVARC. Why is there a separate club? I mean, I know that's not really true, but from my perspective at the time, everybody I knew that was in
Yeah, well,
Texas DX was a member of BVARC. It's like,
it hasn't
why-
always been that way.
yeah.
No, and back when Texas DX Society was actively doing de-expeditions and
Right.
stuff like that, there was a really good reason to be a part of, and of course back then it was quite an exclusive club.
Yes, true.
Only
Right,
through
right.
the work of Alan that you know, how
Right.
long
Well, I would, like
ago
I said, I would just
YMG
kind of throwing out a different perspective from one of the newer guys
Yeah.
that was from the outside looking in.
Right.
Pretty much everybody I knew was a member of both clubs. So I just,
Yeah,
to me, it was just kind of odd, but yeah, I didn't have all the history behind it. So
I'm not sure making it an open club has helped any.
Yeah. I was one of the guys who went to, we went down to XE2 for the DX contest, went for the
Right.
ARRL DX phone contest one time. A whole bunch of us did. And it was funny because we drove down and somebody knew somebody in the US Customs, or in the Mexican Customs. And we brought mobile homes loaded with radio gear into Mexico. And it was really funny because this Generalissimo, whoever he was in charge of that border crossing where we crossed, whatever. And some guy came in and started some buck private tried to started looking at the Generalissimo. So we went down and we had the expedition, and then when we got back, we came back into the United States and came back through the same border crossing. We got to the US Customs side, and the only question they had was, how in the hell did you get this stuff into Mexico?
That's right. That's right.
You know, my outlook on our hobby as a whole, and I say this a lot, you know, back when we all got into it, technology was way different than it is now.
Yeah.
Every young person today that we want to try to get in the hobby, they have a radio in their pocket that'll do everything that we want to do. And their stuff, the little radio in their pocket does it better and it sounds better, and they don't have to get a license. So why do
They
want
don't have to
fool
worry
with
about
this ham radio
propagation.
thing? Huh?
They don't have to worry about propagation.
Well, they don't have to worry about anything. But I mean, that's what we're up against. And a lot of people I talk to, they don't believe that the cell phone is part of the problem of getting people in our hobby. And until we all admit that, we're never going to get our hobby to grow.
You're right.
Oh, let's talk about hotspots and DMR and all that stuff. I just scratch my head and say, I don't get it.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
right.
that's why I keep pushing on the contesting thing, because that's the one thing that's pretty unique about this. And you know, very much like when I did my dissertation.
But you got to find the right young person that's kind of interested in that, because their argument is, why do I want to do all that when I can pick this little thing up I got in my pocket and deal with anybody in the world I want to deal with?
Yeah, but they don't get an 8.5 by 11 certificate that you have to print yourself as a PDF for 48 hours worth of work. Yeah, okay. I think we've answered our own question, haven't we?
Right. I mean, every now and then we pull a youngster in that's really interested in doing things, and all of us try to work with them and you know, help steer them and have fun with the hobby. But it's hard to get their attention to go do this stuff anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
All right, on that happy note, gentlemen, I'm going to say 73.
It's been great to meet
Okay.
you, Bill.
Yeah, thanks for sharing.
Okay,
Good to
so,
see you
Thank you,
again.
Bill.
Good night,
So-
everybody.
After
So is
3 or
the
4
schedule-
decades.
so does this Zoom meeting occur on this? Is it a formula that I can put into my calendar now?
It's,
So there's something-
it's nominally the third Thursday of the month.
All right, I'll put that in unless advised by email otherwise. Thanks.
Okay.
And then
Just
it-
watch
Okay.
the reflector or the bull sheet. It'll let you know.
Fine. Sounds good, gents. It's been fun. Been a long time.
Yeah,
Good to see you
Thank
again.
thank you,
and
Bill.
I'll be back.
Thank
you.
I'll be back in touch with you about the VP program stuff.
Good, that could be good. Sure.
Thank
Hey,
you.
Bill,
Yeah.
Sucker.
Bill, can you, Bill, will you possibly,
He's gone.
all right,
Well, gents, I think this has been productive.
Yeah, thank you, Doug.
Yeah, thanks for
My
hosting.
pleasure.
Yeah, like I say, this whole COVID thing has just knocked the shit out of a lot. I mean, things were already on the decline anyway, but this just accelerated it about 10 times.
And you know what strikes me is when I think back about to the last field day, we had a bunch of people out there for a whole weekend. To my knowledge, nobody got sick.
Oh, no.
We had
No.
6 stations going or something like that.
You know,
But the most recent or
Yeah,
the one in 2019?
2020
Okay, so the most recent one.
under
Uh,
COVID. No,
yeah.
no, I'm sorry, 2021.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah, under COVID.
yeah. Well, I think virtually everybody that was out there had been vaccinated for one thing. So,
My wife wouldn't let me come.
Yeah, Connie's a little protective of you.
that too.
You don't even know. You don't know the half of it. So what I have to go through around here.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's gotta-
it's nice to be loved.
I'm glad you're gonna come tomorrow. Do you want to carpool or you're gonna drive yourself?
Tomorrow.
Or
Right.
not tomorrow,
Saturday.
Saturday.
Yeah, we can go together. As soon as
I'll
I
be-
tell my wife I'm going.
Oh, I'll be in touch.
Yeah, we'll be in touch. Yeah. Yeah, our biggest organizer really is Dave. And sorry to say I haven't gone to any of his. He's invited me a couple times and I haven't gone. But he has initiated and organized operations at Dennis Alexander's place. And several guys have gone and they've reported it. And he's got a good station out there. And I
would just like
wish,
to see one in person.
well, that's,
Have a
I-
weekend field trip out to there.
yeah, maybe would be a good start. Maybe we could organize that we just go out and look at the place. And then we have one at in our 5M too. There's something organized in a few weeks to go out to the big towers. Did you see that on the BVARC website? The BVARC reflector rather.
Yeah.
Or down there in Missouri City or wherever.
Yeah, DeWalt. So I signed up for that. I've been out there once, but it's probably been 30 years since I've been out there. So it's interesting, it's
Just
always fun to go to those
shoot me
things.
these ideas.
Okay.
Just start a file on it and some of the stuff that Bill came up with.
Hmm.
Because I hate to be there dragging old videos from old the expeditions out and say this is our program for the month.
Yeah. And again, it all comes down to how much spare time we have to do these things,
Well,
and who hasn't. That's,
well,
you
you
know,
guys are
I-
still
I'm
working for a
still-
living.
yeah. So all you retired bums, you ought to kick in a few more notches, huh?
Oh, all of us living off the dole.
You're the ones I'm paying your salary, damn it. Come on, man. Step up to the plate.
Okay.
It looks like I'll be paying your damn salary for a while to come.
So when's your next trip out of town?
Second week of December, back to California.
Made a good
Yep.
impression first time, huh?
Huh? Oh, well,
Made a good impression.
we had made, we were actually scheduled to go out there and do a presentation, or I was to do a presentation at a company, and I had already organized a couple other meetings with other companies while we were out there. And then the company that we were originally going to go out there for, the guy was having eye surgery, so he postponed the whole thing. And so we went out there anyway. But now he has set it up again for December 8th. So I'm going to go out there on the 7th and probably spend 2 or 3 more days out there meeting with other companies and then head back. So I'll be there on Thursday, so I'll miss the spread. But if I'm not at a meeting, maybe I can check in by telephone,
Okay.
like I did from the UK once.
Yeah, right.
And you know what? The guy Rick, who was my boss they already let him go. I got another boss now, and he'd only been with the company about 2 months, so
Oh,
he's already
really?
gone.
Oh boy. Okay, Jansville, anything else or should we shut it down?
Nothing more.
That's it.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Can you
Okay.
think of anybody else that we can twist our arm to come on Saturday?
Say it again. You
Well,
broke up.
I plan to be there. This is Scott K5DD.
Yes, you and I are going together.
Okay,
Jim said he's gonna be there.
And
Yeah,
Doug and
I'll be
Alan are gonna go together.
Yeah.
They're going to Saturday.
We'll have 6 or 7 people there.
It's a good start.
Plus it's good food, so.
But
Okay.
you know what? Why don't we just at random make a few phone calls? You know, we don't have to make it formal or assign, you know, a couple other TDXS members. Just pick one or two and call them, see if they can come.
I've done that.
Okay. Well, just an idea.
Okay.
But I mean, yeah, then try it again. ET is gonna be out of town and Rick's gonna be out of town and GZR. And if you can think of anybody else, I think TU might come.
Not this Saturday, right?
Yeah,
This
this Saturday.
coming Saturday,
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's already Thursday.
day after tomorrow.
Yeah. But let's maybe we should make it a I don't know, make it a weekly thing every other week.
Or
Start
even-
building stuff up.
Even start
mean-
once a month.
Once a month, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, my lunches started out with just 1 or 2 people. And, you know, in the peak of things, we had 15, 20 people show up.
Yeah.
At times. So
Yeah.
if you just make something on a regular basis that they can count on and
Calendar.
have food involved, then
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty good combination, winning combination.
It brings them out. You know, I'm part of a Wednesday group for the medical center people, you know, what Mike used to have. And, you know, we meet every Wednesday at 1:00 and everybody knows to come and they know where to come. And, you know, it just works out very well. And it's a fountain of information, especially trying to get involved in something that you haven't done before. These guys are experts. So, you know.
Why don't we have a drawing at every meeting for who gets the next free lunch or free meal
that
paid
sounds,
for out of dues, paid for out of our massive treasury.
that sounds like an interesting incentive if it gets things rolling a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. One other thing would be I'll go ahead and call and there at that Kelly's, they've got a big table that'll probably hold 15, 20 people. And I'll go ahead and see if I can reserve that. They've also got another room in the back for private dinner meetings. But the problem is you have to order from one of 3 items that are on a preset menu, and the price is jacked up quite a bit. We were looking at going there for some of our dinner meetings in the past, but the thing with Saturday morning is, well, like Cars has got every Saturday they've got a meeting.
Yeah, we can't do it Saturday morning because Bevark's got meetings on every Saturday too.
Well, and Cars also has got VE examinations. So yeah, we'll just take it and go.
Yeah.
It's for people who,
Yeah, that's, my wife is giving me that T-shirt. This is the order confirmation, but that's for my birthday.
I like it.
I love it.
Where did she get that?
I can send you the link if you want one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'll offend some people.
I just thought it was the greatest thing I've seen in a long time. So anyhow, I wanted to show it to you. Yeah, that'll put a positive spin on the evening.
Your audio is not coming through too well, Jim.
Yeah, that's because I was talking to the backside of the computer.
Yeah.
Okay, it's time to go eat some yogurt.
Yep. Yep.
Hey,
Okay.
see y'all later.
All
All
right.
right.
Bye.
Thanks,
Night,
guys.
night.
See
Thank
y'all
you.
Saturday.
Yeah,
Cheers.
See you
bet.
Saturday. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.